Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate it all. Botswana has long been praised as African quite success story, stable, democratic, and rich in diamonds. But now, something unexpected is happening. Behind closed doors, the diamond-rich nation is reassessing its global alliance, and one name is suddenly coming up more often than ever before: Russia. 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 It's amazing. Why would one of Africa's most stable economies look beyond its traditional Western partners? Because for Africans, this has always been our everything. We believe that they are the only ones that can help us solve the problems of Africa. Is this about diamonds, sovereignty, or a deeper frustration with the global system? Today, we uncover why Botswana is exploring closer ties with Russia, what this means for Africa, and why the West may be paying attention far too late. This is amazing how things are changing in Africa. Stay with us because this story is much bigger than diamonds. I'm so excited, the way everything is changing and how we are seeing our leaders also doing everything possible in their power to make sure the African rises and the African takes his or her own destiny into his own hands. Botswana, Africa's diamond success story. For decades, Botswana has been held up as a model African state, which is diamonds, political stability, and economic discipline. The country avoided the so-called resources case that devastated many mineral-rich nations. Through partnership with Western companies, especially in diamond mining, Botswana built schools, hospitals, and infrastructure, earning global praise. You understand? But beneath this success lies a growing question: who really benefits most from Botswana's diamonds?
And now it is boosting ties with the world's largest diamond producer, Russia. Why? To counter the impact of US tariffs. And Botswana plans to open an embassy in Moscow. It has also invited Russian financiers to invest in its mining industries, especially diamonds and rare earths. Botswana's foreign minister has announced the move, according to Russia's state news agency.
We firmly believe that Botswana is the best place for investment, considering its political and economic stability. Therefore, we strongly encourage Russian investors to come to Botswana.
And the timing of this move is crucial. Botswana is moving closer to Russia at a time where it is pushing for duty-free diamond exports to the United States. Diamonds are the cornerstone of Botswana's economy. They contribute about 1/3 of Botswana's national revenues and 3/4 of its foreign exchange receipts. Though Botswana is rich in diamonds, its economy is still ailing. First is a drop in the global diamond demand. Recent diamond sales have plummeted by 50%. And what made it worse were Trump's tariffs. Last year in August, the US slapped a 37% tariff on goods from Botswana. Later, the tariff on diamonds was reduced to 15%. But this is only applicable on stones cut and polished in Botswana. Diamonds that are processed abroad face a 50% import tax. Washington has justified the tariffs, citing a trade imbalance. America says that while Botswana's goods enjoyed access to the US markets, the same is not true for American goods and services. Thus, the tariffs were imposed. And even though Washington cut the tariff on Botswana's diamonds, it is still a hit for the struggling economy. And the US is also a key market for Botswana's diamonds, which is why Botswana is pushing for no tariffs. And what is it offering the US in return? Priority access to its critical minerals and rare earths. Back in September, Botswana's Vice President and Trade Minister met with US officials. They submitted a proposal titled Botswana Strategic Bilateral Engagement on US Reciprocal Tariffs. The country's president seems optimistic about a deal with the US. Back in October, President Duma Boko confirmed that negotiations with the US were in an advanced stage and that the country was on the verge of reaching an agreement on duty-free diamond imports. But striking a deal with the Trump administration is not going to be a cakewalk. Donald Trump's hardline trade policies make his next move unpredictable, which is why Botswana is working on diversifying investment. And that is where Russia comes in. Not only is it the world's top diamond producer, but also a key rival of the United States. Russia is expanding its footprint across Africa, and the US tariffs have sort of catalyzed the whole process. African nations bearing the brunt of these tariffs are turning to Russia for support.
Who really benefits from Botswana's diamonds? This is a wonderful question we all need to ask ourselves. If all the things that we are hearing about Botswana is what it is, who benefits? Growing discontent with the old system. Like many African nations, Botswana has started questioning the long-standing global economic order, despite its diamond wall. Value addition largely happened outside Africa. Like one time, Duma Boko was saying that if they will not allow us to own the majority, then we will do something because the diamonds belong to us. Pricing power is controlled abroad. African countries remain exporters of raw materials, not finished products. Botswana's leaders are now asking what many African governments are asking. And we know these governments that are asking the relevant questions in Africa. The rest are so pleased because when they are able to strike 786%, they say we should hail them. Why are we still selling raw wealth while others sell finished luxury? This frustration is pushing Botswana to diversify its partnership. Why Russia? Why Russia? Russia presents itself differently from traditional Western partners. Moscow's message to Africa has been clear, which we know that the way they come to Africa is different from the way these people come. No lectures on internal politics. The West always try to make sure they control everything, including the person who will lead the African. Russia is different, emphasizing on sovereignty and mutual respect. This is what Russia stands for, and not to always make sure they downplay the sovereignty of Africa and believe that we still need to be under their influence. Cooperation in mining, energy, security, and technology. For Botswana, Russia represents options, not necessarily a replacement for the West, but leverage. By engaging Russia, Botswana signals we are no longer dependent on one side, which we know we have been doing one thing for all these decades, expecting different results which will never come. A strategic move, not a sudden shift. This is not about ideology, it's about strategy. Botswana wants better terms in mineral processing, more control over its diamond value chain, stronger negotiating power globally. Russia's expertise in mining, geology, and state-controlled resources management makes it an attractive partner in discussions about local processing and technology transfer, part of a bigger African trend. Botswana is not alone across Africa. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are redefining alliances. South Africa deepens multipolar engagement. African states are rejecting one-sided dependency. This is the rise of a multipolar Africa, choosing partners based on interest, not pressure. Why the West is nervous? Botswana moves sends a quiet but powerful message. Africa's most stable, diamond-rich democracy is thinking independently. If Botswana, long considered a Western success story, can look elsewhere, then no partnership is guaranteed anymore. This isn't rebellion, it's self-respect. What comes next? Will Botswana fully pivot to Russia? Unlikely. But will it continue expanding its options and demanding fairer deals? Absolutely. And that may be the most important lesson here. Africa is no longer asking for permission. It's choosing. Africa is no longer asking for permission. It's choosing. What do you think? Is Botswana making a smart strategic move, or is this a risky gamble? As Africans, it is the African that can change the destiny of Africa. We need, as Africans, to continue to work together for the future of Africa. We are the only ones that can actually cause a change in our continent. And if this is what we want, then we all need to unite and start looking elsewhere instead of looking in the same direction that hasn't yielded any response for the African. And that has been a hindrance to the progress of Africa. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, Southern Africa, and in Botswana.